You're tense, panicked, jittery, hypervigilant, worrying that some terrible event is going to start at any moment. Focusing is hard, calming down is harder, sleep is impossible, and life just isn't fun anymore. What I'm describing right now, that's called survival mode. It happens when we get so overwhelmed by our circumstances that our body just tries to amp us into fight or flight mode and tries to keep us there forever, basically. Survival mode is supposed to be a brief event. It's supposed to trigger fight or flight. It's supposed to get us solving the problem that's right in front of us, and then it's supposed to fade away and let us return to our normal, happy life. But it's all too easy to get stuck in survival mode in the world we share today. I know I spent a huge chunk of my life stuck in survival mode, but for me, that's a thing of the past. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 different steps that I used to get out of survival mode and to keep it away for good. I'm excited to help you do the same, so let's get into it. Step 1. Physical interventions. When you get stuck in survival mode, your body gets flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. Your muscles tense up, your breathing gets quick and shallow, your heart speeds up, your blood pressure increases, and it's just a whole lot of terrible stuff that I'm sure you know all too well. The good news is that many of these physical changes can be targeted directly, and targeting the physical changes first causes a ripple effect where all those changes go back into your thoughts and emotions too. Our minds and our body are intimately linked. They do not exist independently in any way, shape, or form, which means that when we're super tense, or when we're shaking, or when we're hyperventilating, we can start out by controlling those, and the mental and emotional effects will follow. It's basically a cheat code for your nervous system. Sure, your brain may be what's making you upset, but your body can make you feel better. Your breathing is the single system that is easiest to control directly, which is why we're going to start with a breathing method. Controlling your breath lets you change your blood oxygenation, lower your heart rate, and trigger your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is the method of your body functioning that leads to a calmer, happier, relaxed, satisfied state. So that's exactly what we want. The best way to do that, the simplest way to do that, is to engage in box breathing. Box breathing is a controlled method of breathing in which you inhale for 4 seconds, making sure to expand your diaphragm while you do it, hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then exhale over 4 seconds. Now, you can take longer than 4 seconds to do this. The important part is making sure that your entire lungs are filled with air and holding air. It's also important to take time while you exhale. You can make the process even more effective by very consciously counting to 4 while you box breathe. Counting to 4 and paying attention to counting to 4 will give you a cognitive distraction while you're enacting those physical changes. You can also have fun with it by focusing on something whimsical or a bit weird instead of just focusing on the numbers. You could focus on really long words like anti-disestablishmentarianism or supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and you can also use mantras used in various religious and spiritual traditions. Using random gibberish words and just long, funny-sounding words adds whimsy to it, which can lift your mood. And going for the more spiritual angle of actual mantras allows you to connect with whatever deity you do or don't believe in, and with any spiritual benefits that you associate with those mantras. That doesn't just give you something else to think about now, it also gives you active practice redirecting your thoughts, which will give you more control over your thoughts even when you're not actively engaging in box breathing. Practicing focusing on what you want to focus on will strengthen your ability to do that, which will help you stop thinking about whatever's sending you into a panic, and that allows for greater focus, greater control of your thoughts and emotions, and greater efficacy while you go to solve whatever problems may have suddenly popped up. It's a great way to make sure that you never get caught in a panic spiral again. For any nerds in the room, box breathing works because inhaling slowly, holding your breath, and exhaling slowly raises the carbon dioxide level in your blood while reducing your heart rate. That activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that sends signals that you're in a calm, safe place and you need to rest or maybe even go to sleep now. Now that you've got your breathing under control, it's time for step 2. That's 4, not 2. 2. The thing to do after you get control of your breathing is move on to your muscular system. There are 2 methods to do this. One is called the body scan method, and that's when you focus on one muscle group at a time, systematically, going all the way through your body. I usually start at my feet, although it can also be helpful to start at your neck and go down. The whole point is to make sure you don't miss any step along the way, so you just go in sequence from one group to another, to another, to another. And while you're going through those groups, you tighten up each muscle that you get to, and then you relax it before moving on to the next. You can also just focus on parts of your body that are particularly tense or even causing pain with the amount of tension they're in. And what you do for that is you tighten things up as far as you can, and you hold it that way for a while, and then you let go, and you should feel a lot better. It feels a lot like a massage when you do this, because your muscle is getting to its most extreme state, and then it's relaxed again. And usually the state that it falls into after you do this is much less tense than when you first tensed it up. If you just keep doing this, going through your body, looking for the muscles that are tense, tensing them harder, and then letting go, you will feel more physically relaxed. And the really great thing is, once you develop a habit of doing this, when you feel like you're stuck in survival mode and really anxious and really hypervigilant and worrying all the time about everything everywhere, you start doing it automatically without really having to think about it anymore. And that helps us stay calm and feel good. All right, we've dealt with the easiest step, which is using your body to tap into your parasympathetic nervous system and get you calming down. But your body isn't the only lever you can grab and you can change to get you out of survival mode and into a normal, happy life that has all the things that you like in it all the time. The next step, step 3, I only did 3 fingers this time. I didn't do 6. Step 3 is practical planning. Being in survival mode is very often triggered by life circumstances. Either you've had bad things going on for a long time, or you've had enough bad things happen recently that your body just thinks nothing good is ever going to happen again. You need to panic, you need to solve it, and you need to run away. That's survival mode. It happens when bad things happen. As a rule, there are exceptions, but that's very common. And if you feel like this is part of why you've fallen into survival mode, then engaging in practical planning to try to solve some of those problems, or at least your ability to cope with those problems, will help you get out of survival mode and stay out of survival mode. This can mean changing your environment, your job or hobbies, or even your thought processes. Even really little things like wearing softer and more comfortable clothing, or arranging your home in a way that you find pleasing, can be enough to have a positive impact and reduce your likelihood of entering into or staying in survival mode. And of course, learning active skills or changing your life circumstances is also going to reduce the frequency with which you enter survival mode. The changes don't have to be big. They can be small and they can still be effective. They also don't have to all be done at once. They can be gradual, sequential. In fact, that's going to cause the least panic because you're not going to feel like you have to do everything all at once. Set up a plan, make sure it's attainable, go step by step, and you'll get to the end much sooner than trying to change everything at once. It's also incredibly important to genuinely reward, genuinely praise, and find real satisfaction in every step you take towards making a change. Just learning a way to open a conversation with a stranger is a simple thing to do, but it also lets you feel more secure in who you are and in your abilities. And if you acknowledge that as the genuinely excellent thing it is, you're going to find it a lot easier to stay out of survival mode, to stay happy, and to keep your personal efficacy as you progress towards your goals. Your nervous system doesn't need a whole new life to feel better. It just needs to feel like you're heading in the right direction. It's kind of like how when you're taking a new medication and you know it's not supposed to work right away, but it does. This is because your body anticipates the change, it appreciates that you're working towards it, and it's ready to give you some of that reward right away. You can do this in every area of life, not just medicine. All you have to do is focus on each step as a positive thing, as a good thing, as something that's getting you closer to your goal, and to be genuinely happy about the progress rather than simply longing for the outcome. Every giant change happens one little step at a time. Enjoying all of them makes your life much happier than it would be otherwise. That in itself is self-care. That in itself is pushing in the right direction. It's a good thing. And you should acknowledge that because it shows exactly how great you already are. This loop of continual self-reinforcement is the guaranteed way to reach your goals. It's also the way to make sure you enjoy the process. So yeah, you want to do that. Okay, we've got 3 steps we've already turned into habits, and that's excellent. And I've got 2 whole new steps that can also help you reach your goal of never being threatened by survival mode again. So let's get to it. Step 4 is cultivating self-trust. This is a longer process than everything we've discussed so far. It's not going to happen right away, but you can absolutely do it. Self-reliance always appears progressively. Some of us get trained to do this in youth and we don't ever have to consciously think about it. Some of us have to do it ourselves. And if you're in that set, as I was in that set, then that's perfectly fine. I'm here to help you through it. The first step is assessing the strengths you already have, and trust me, you've got lots of them. You've already overcome a million problems in your life. You've solved a million issues, and you've gotten yourself out of really awful jams. I know you have. Everyone has. And every time you've done that, you've gained experience, learned skills, and developed talents that you already had. Overcoming obstacles in life is no different than doing reps in the gym. If you've been through some terrible things, then you know you can get through some terrible things. You can. Resilience isn't automatic. It happens when we encounter awful things and we get through it. And when we learn that when we encounter more awful things, we'll be able to get through that too. These aren't things we learn in books, they're things we encounter in life, so it's actually really helpful if we start looking at every obstacle in front of us as a way to train ourselves to become better. Everything we still need to do is something that will teach us to become the person who can do those things. And once we do enough of those, and frankly, once we acknowledge that we already have done so many of those, it becomes a lot easier to trust that we'll be able to handle them when we get there. It's a process, it's not automatic, but if you run into little issues or big issues and you notice that you overcome them and think about how you overcome them and think about the traits that you use to do that, you'll have a better idea of your personal strengths that you can leverage in the future to get to where you want to be, to get to where you need to be. You know that you can get through it. And when you know that you can get through it, there's a lot less reason to fear. There's a lot less reason to panic. There's a lot less reason for your body to go into survival mode. You'll just see something you've done a million times before and you go, yeah, I can do that. I can do it. And I got a secret for you. You can absolutely do it. You'll see. And once you see, survival mode becomes a thing of the past. The final outcome of this is a deep and abiding confidence in all that you've done and all that you know that means you can do in the future. You start to trust your judgment. You start to trust your ability. You start to trust your ability to roll with any punches life might give you. You learn that you are, in reality, as strong as I already know you are. We've already learned a lot. I do have one more trick that can help you get away from survival mode for good. Step 5, it's called radical acceptance. A lot of religious faiths teach radical acceptance, and they do this in a lot of different ways. In traditions with deities that actually control events, believers are taught that everything has a purpose. God has a plan. And even if he's testing you, he's doing it for your own good. This encourages people to accept what's going on. Buddhism has a similar teaching, even though they do it in the exact opposite way. They teach that all is suffering. When we acknowledge that all is suffering, we don't really get riled up about things being bad. We just acknowledge that's how life and the world is. And at that point, it's easier to accept suffering because it is just life. And if we didn't have the suffering, we wouldn't have the happiness either. So, yeah, different ways of doing it. But a lot of religions teach it, and they teach it because it helps. They teach it because it keeps people going, even when it feels like it's not worth keeping on going. So no matter what justification you use, I personally like thinking about how even every failure, every hardship teaches me things that are valuable and that I can use to become better and stronger and better endurance and more equanimity and all of these wonderful traits that you want to have, because it's great to just be strong, to be good, to be patient and graceful. We can't develop that if we don't encounter suffering. And if we really want to be those things, we want to be tested as much as we can so that we can grow in all of those ways. Radically accepting all of the bad means we are radically accepting all the good that we can become and all the good that we can have, because they are intimately linked together. You don't become great without going through absolutely terrible things. Accepting those terrible things from the outset because of the good they are, because they can't hurt you, because you won't let them hurt you mentally, creates an internal strength that no circumstance can take away from you, that no event can take away from you, that no person can rip from you. That equanimity, that willingness to accept the good, the bad, the ugly, the dark and the destructive, along with the beautiful and the good, allows for peace that nothing can overcome. And that's not easy to do, but that's why this is the last step. This is something that you work towards after you've mastered all of the tools in the first 4 steps. But once you get there, you'll never be in survival mode again. Once you get there, even the worst challenges life can throw at you will be a delight. You'll be able to enjoy every single second of even the worst things you encounter, which means it's worth pursuing, even if you know you're not going to be really getting there for a while. It's the cheese at the end of the maze of life that makes everything enjoyable. And that's the method. That's the step-by-step process you can and should use to get yourself out of survival mode and to stay out of it forever. I hope you try them. They completely changed my life, and I know they can change yours. But in the end, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.